Our final honoree and recipient of a Distinguished Service Award is Jere Noe. Jere built a 60-year career as a CPA, retiring in 2019 as a partner at Wendling, Noe, Nelson, and Johnson, a Topeka accounting firm. He served his profession as a past president of the Kansas Society of CPAs and the Northeast Kansas chapter of CPAs. He currently serves on the Kaw Valley Bank Board of Directors and the Washburn University Alumni Association and Foundation Board of Trustees. He previously served on the boards of Family Service Guidance Center and the Washburn University Alumni Association and Foundation and the Topeka Civitan Club. Jere received an honorary Doctor of Commerce degree from Washburn in 2010 and the Garvey Trustee Award in 2011. Jere and his wife Carol have supported Washburn with gifts to the School of Business, the basketball and golf teams, and other areas. Friend Connie Carson said this of Jere: "You have a kind and generous personality towards others. You're a true Ichabod." Kurt Sittenauer commented, "Jere is the most well-rounded accountant I know. He always claimed he didn't know much about a certain topic or issue, but once you drilled down, he was very knowledgeable and wound up teaching you something. He has always been an advocate of the Washburn Accounting Department, and the staff at Wendling, Noe, Nelson, and Johnson were well represented by Washburn alumni." And Gene Hofer said, "Your wisdom and international memory and institutional memory have been an invaluable resource for the Washburn University trustees as long as I can remember. As you're not one who needs to hear himself talk, I always know when you have something to say, it's worth listening to. Jere, for your service to our community, to your profession, and to Washburn, we are honored to present you the Distinguished Service Award."
Well, I think I had me last, so if you got bored, you could get up and leave. Anyway, I'm going to spend a little more time than I probably should, but I have some interesting stories to tell about Washburn and a few other things. So if you'll bear with me, and if you do get too bored and you want to leave, feel free to do so. But I thank you very much for this award. I want to congratulate all the other honorees. We've always had great people in Washburn, and we still do. I'm very appreciative, and I enjoyed getting this award very much. I want to start by telling you, after I found out that I was going to get this award, I thought, goodness, I must have been involved in being part of some good things that happened in Washburn. And I made a short list, and I'd like to go over those with you. Before I do that, I'd like to introduce you to my guest tonight, my wonderful wife, Carol, who's had a bad day, but without her patience and understanding and counseling, I wouldn't be here tonight. I never had a day without her. So, thank you, Carol. My two sons. My two sons are here, Kevin and his wife, Dawn, and Bruce and his wife, Michelle, but she couldn't be with us tonight. And both of my boys are Washburn graduates. We have daughter Pamela, who is taking our youngest grandchild to his first day of college at Hamilton College in New York State. So she couldn't be here, but she was a snob in the family. She graduated from KU. That's some of the good things that I've been involved with at Washburn. One of the first things I thought about was in my junior year, Dr. Green asked three of us that were all involved in the business school to do an in-depth study of the food service at Washburn. I said he got more complaints about food than any other single thing at Washburn. So we did an in-depth study and came to some conclusions, and they gave him some recommendations. And I don't know whether he followed our recommendations or whether he came up with something on his own, but we were told later that the food improved dramatically. And Julie tells me today that that's still a complaint of the students. The second thing is, a little while after I had become trustee, I was on the search team that hired Julie Mazachek as an instructor for our business school, and that's worked out really well for us. The third thing that I have here, since I was elected as a trustee, I have been strongly worshipped, and I spent a lot of time being a goodwill ambassador, both in my private and professional life. And I spent a lot of time in the early days, when we were just getting started, improving our fundraising capabilities. I chaired a lot of committees, I served on a lot of committees, and I worked really hard to try to do my best to make Washburn and the foundation and the Endowment Association better. And I think we've been successful in doing that. The other thing that I have on my list is shortly after we hired professional fundraisers, he kind of took me under his wing, and we made a trip to Creighton and Iowa State to talk to their endowment people. And at that time, Iowa State had a Cadillac program. They were considered one of the best endowment associations in the Midwest. And they stressed the importance of building a pipeline of deferred giving. And today, we have a strong pipeline of deferred giving. Now, I didn't do it, but I pushed the concept, and it's worked out wonderfully well for Washburn. And we're in a position now, we have a lot of future donors that bodes well for the university. The other thing they asked me to do was make a few comments about my education while I was at Washburn. And that's a little bit difficult since it was so long ago. But I came up with 2 or 3, and most of them have to do with Dr. Marco. Dr. Marco was my economics teacher, and he was also my faculty advisor. And I always remember to this day, the first day of Economics 101, he told me, he said something to his class that I've never forgotten. He said, human wants are insatiable, and no matter how much you have, you always want more. And that has proved to be a true statement. The second thing also has to do with Dr. Marco. In my freshman year, early in October, I was told in one of my classes that Dr. Marco wants you to come to his office to see him after class. And I thought, my goodness, what could I have done to screw up this bad in such a short time? And I got to his office, and he said, you told me at an earlier meeting that you wanted to be a CPA, and you wanted your education directed in that direction. Do you still want to do that? And I said, yes. Well, he said, I have an opportunity for you. I have a chance for you to go to work part-time for a local CPA firm, and he said, as a flower. And he says, they're willing to work with you on your hours so that you won't have a conflict. So he said, what do you think about that? And I said, well, I really don't know. I said, I really want to go out to the basketball and the baseball teams. I don't know if I'm big enough to make the basketball team, but I'm certain I can make the baseball team. Well, he said, how good are you? I said, I'm pretty darn good, and I've had a lot of experience. And he says, no, he said, how good are you? I said, I'm really pretty good. And he said, well, do you think you're good enough to play professional? And I thought for a minute, I said, probably not. He said, I'd advise you to take this job. I followed his advice, I took the job, and I had a wonderful career as a CPA. I was president of Kansas Society for a year, And I spent 17 years with National Firms as an audit partner. And when I retired in 2019 at age 86, I have served the profession for 60 years. So I felt like I had done. The third person that I wanted to introduce that I haven't yet was a good friend of Carol's. She introduced me to Carol on a blind date when I was home on leave from the Army. And while it took us a while, we finally got married. And we had our 65th anniversary last month. The best thing that has happened to me with all my time at Washburn is the wonderful, wonderful friends that I have made. And let me tell you, as you get older, good friends are a wonderful blessing. I'd like to now just get back a little bit and tell you a little bit about my background and how I came to Washburn as a non-traditional student. I graduated from Urban Hill High School with honors, where I was an outstanding baseball and basketball player. Times were different in the 50s than they are today, especially in a small school. Nobody really thought very much about going to college. People were more interested in getting a job and getting a paycheck. But I had one college scholarship offered to play basketball, but I didn't like school, and I still don't. But anyway, I didn't think my folks could afford to send me to school, and I knew I was going to be drafted before very long, and I didn't want to start something that I couldn't finish. So my dad got me a job working for the Santa Fe Railway, and I continued my basketball career there, playing for the Santa Fe Chiefs. And we had a corporate basketball team. We also had a ladies basketball team. But we played some really good competition. I played against a lot of ex-college players and a lot of really good players. And everybody wanted to schedule us because we had our own gym on the top floor. And facilities were hard to come by in the 50s just to play basketball. So that was kind of, we only had 9 people on the staff, so we played a lot of minutes, and I continued to be a high scorer. That was my forte, but I was a scorer. But anyway, I served in that course. I continued to work at Santa Fe until I was drafted. I was drafted on March 1st, 1953 into the United States Army. And I have an Army story that I want to tell you. I'd like to tell it in detail, but in the essence of time, I won't. But it's an important reason that I'm at Washburn today, so I think I'll tell it to you. I took my basic training at Fort Bliss, Texas, in El Paso. And I was assigned to an aircraft unit that was also stationed at Fort Bliss. Well, along about August, they called a meeting for our group, and they said, we're going to transfer you guys to South Dakota. And what they told me, they said, you're not going with the group. We have other plans for you. And we have a meeting scheduled with Captain So-and-so in the personnel department. Well, I didn't have a clue what was going on, but being a good soldier, I went to the meeting, and he asked me a lot of personal questions that I personally didn't think were any of his business, but about my civilian life before I came to the military. And he said, well, I think it's only fair to tell you, before we can proceed, we have to get you security clearance. And he says, to get you security clearance, we're going to have the FBI, who does our investigating work for the Army, do a detailed and in-depth review of your life before you join the military. Now, what do you think about that? And God was flabbergasted. So I said yes. He said, well, I'll get their report in a week to 10 days. And he said, then you'll have to come back and see me. So time went on, and I got a call. I was supposed to go back and see him. He said, I've got good news for you. He said, you've received a security clearance. You've been cleared as top secret, which is the highest military classification that there is. And he said, we're going to send you to school in San Antonio, Texas, to Fort Sam Houston. And while I didn't realize at the time, everybody in the 5th Army wanted to get transferred to San Antonio. And the reason for that was they had a very large WAC group there that permanently stationed, and it was real easy to find female companionship. And most of us in the class took advantage of that. But I'm getting a little ahead of my story. But they arranged transportation for it, and I arrived. Still not having a clue what I was going to school for. They wouldn't tell me. But I arrived at a really nice brick building with one parking place, and I checked in. I was given a 7:05 room, and they said, you're scheduled for an 8 o'clock meeting in the morning, and we'll tell you all about the school. Well, I went down to the meeting, and we had 19 people as trainees in the room, and we had a major in charge, and he said, first of all, it's really important that you uphold the top secret protocol. He says, nobody's to tell anybody, anytime, any place about this school or what we do at the school. The only people you're supposed to talk to are your instructors and your classmates. And still didn't know what was going on, but he said, if you pass this class, and he says, to the best of our current knowledge, you're going to school to become experts in CBR. He says CBR stands for Chemical, Radiological, and Biological Warfare. Wow. Anyway, school was tough. I will not keep you about that. I spent a lot of time on work. It was tough both mentally and physically. And, but it was more like civilian life. We went to school from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, a lot of time outdoors. And on Saturdays, we went to school from 8 o'clock to noon, and then we had Saturday afternoons and Sundays off. So we did have a little free time, but a lot of us spent quite a bit of time studying, because it was a difficult school. I was one of 15 that graduated from school, and it says, you people now been designated as CPR experts, but you'll be required to go back to your home base. Well, that was a real disappointment to me, because Fort Bliss was a military place to serve. And I thought I'd get to go with all my knowledge now, I'd get to go to some bush base where everything was nice. But he said, you'll go back to your base, and we will work with an officer who will have the same training that you have, and you will be required to train all personnel at your base. And he thought, he said, I know it'll be tough, got a lot of people for this, but he says, and you'll be required to achieve a 70% passing rate on tests that you will administer. Well, we had a lot of reasons why that was almost impossible for this, but the captain and I did work out a plan, and we did get the 70% pass rate. I don't ever want to tell how we did it. Anyway, but I came back then, I discharged from the Army on March the 1st of 1955. I came back home to Carbondale, where the community elected me as president of the high school board, and I served in that capacity until I was required to move to Topeka to become a partner in the CPA. So I owe a lot to Carbondale Rural High School. They were great to me. And I graduated summa cum laude from Washburn in 1959. I got married to Carol, and I thank you again for this award.